Hey everyone, Joshua Kirk here with you once again. Now it's time for episode 158 of Album of the Day, in which today's artist is an English singer-songwriter who specializes mostly in like folk music and singer-songwriter music. Hints of alternative country in his music and her music as well. And she's definitely been gaining a bit of a cult following thanks to widespread critical acclaim, in the last few years or so, and is pretty much getting a lot more attention these days, pretty much. I'm talking about the English singer-songwriter known as Laura Marling. Now, I don't have the best of knowledge of Laura Marling, because this review is actually for my first album that I've ever listened to from her, but, I just wanted to do this review because, this, is one of my favorite albums of the year, and I am really getting into her stuff. So I'm here to review Laura Marling's latest studio album, which came out on March 10th, 2017, earlier this year. The album is called Semper, Femina, and as you can see, this is my CD copy of it right here. I was kind of aware of Laura Marling in the past. I heard about her in 2013 with her album Once I Was an Eagle, but for whatever reason I never got around to listening to it. But, now that I'm, slowly, getting into her stuff, I may have to give that one a listen. But today we're here to talk about her latest album, Semper Femina, which there's the front cover. Looks really nice, and there's the track list here. There's 9 songs on here. It clocks it at over 42 minutes, and independently released under some label that's called More Alarming Records or whatever. So it could be this pretty much counts as a self-released record, I guess. Really cool visuals here for this booklet, and of course there's the lyrics and the liner notes and stuff. And then this is a little plastic sleeve that has the liner notes in it and stuff like that. And then there's the CD. Bought this at a record store in Richmond, Virginia over spring break called Plan 9 Records. Pretty cool record store, shout out to them. And that's the packaging for Semper Femina, the new album from Laura Marling. And I also was aware of Laura Marling, that in 2015 she had put out a record called Short Movie, which did see her, sort of taking a different stylistic direction with that one, incorporating more electric guitars on the record than acoustic guitars. This one is a little more back to her acoustic folky roots, pretty much. And apparently the name of this album actually comes from sort of a poem, where one of its, most notorious phrases is fickle and changeable. So that's basically where the album gets its title. And it kind of makes sense as a title for the record. Listening to this record, I can tell this is kind of a record, sort of dealing with kind of the aftermath of, female relationships that she's had sort of slowly fallen apart and stuff like that. So it's definitely a very heartbreaking, introspective, sort of very, difficult record, pretty much, if you really think about the lyrics on here. But also at the same time, the lyrics definitely are very, intelligent and poetic, and it isn't necessarily just wallowing in hurt necessarily. I mean, she's definitely kind of, this is a very reflective album, and, sort of reflecting on it, and sort of, this is kind of a cathartic record because, of her, because on here, with every song, she really does sing from the heart here on this record, and, I definitely do love it. I'm going to talk about this record track by track because really every song on this album just has something about it that just makes it so compelling, and, I don't think there's not actually one track on here that I don't enjoy, I mean, it's a really solid record overall, so, you may as well grab that popcorn and enjoy my track-by-track overview of Semper Femina. So the opening track on here is the song Soothing, and probably by far the sexiest song on the record, in my opinion, in terms of musically, love the different textures on this song, the very unique, sort of textures with the percussion and the bass, which actually sounds like an upright bass and an electric bass combined to create these different sort of sounds, pretty much, which sound really interesting over Laura Marling's, very distinctive voice, that has, you can pretty much tell that she's, British from her voice, which actually adds a nice little unique twist to traditional folk music. And, the lyrics even have a bit of a sensual touch to them as well, the lyrics actually on here on the song sound a little Fiona Apple inspired, with lines like that line in the bridge, like that line in the bridge, I'd banish you with love. And also the really gorgeous string arrangements that kind of weave in and out of the track, the track, especially in the chorus and then the ending, you get some interesting little curveballs instrumentally, some more percussion, and I think I heard kalimba at a couple of points in the song too. That was nice. Nice, and also at the end it sounds as if what's over it is a sound collage or something, and of course, does have definitely one of the most sort of unique bass lines in the entire LP. So it's kind of a challenging way to open up a record because, when you open up a record, you usually try to find something super accessible and poppy, but I like how Laura decided to just kind of make a brave choice and, decided to put one of the Otter tracks as the first song on the record. And also making it the first single, I think, was also kind of a bold sort of choice for her to make as well. So you follow that with the song The Valley, which, is definitely a little more kind of, Laura's usual style, very folky with the fingerpick guitars and upright bass and minimal percussion, as well as really nice string arrangements, which, the string arrangements really do pop, when you get to, the middle of that song. Just that violin solo, just one of the most, sort of achingly gorgeous moments on the entire record. Rob Moose really, showing off his skills to, stack strings and, strings to the point where it's basically a one-man orchestra in there, which I think is just an amazing skill to have. Lyrically, this song sort of, is a song sort of, show, this song, lyrically, is sort of a song, sort of, she's sort of wondering what's going on to this person after, they've broken up pretty much, and, talking about how she sings in the valley in the morning, and, and I'm longing, and how she's kind of longing to ask her, what she's mourning. So she's really sort of giving you a clue on what to expect lyrically with the rest of this album. And, it's a beautiful ballad and, definitely, one of, the best songs on the record. It definitely really does show off a nice sense of beauty, and it keeps you engaged even in its almost 6-minute runtime. Um, the song Wildfire is another one that I do really like, which is technically, I guess, one of the singles on here as well, and definitely a standout from this record, in terms of like, her lyrical, sort of direction on this song, like the song, sort of, and like, right off the bat from the opening line, chasing down a wildfire, are you trying to make a cold liar out of me? You can tell that, she's really being super honest with herself and sort of, kind of, asking these questions, pretty much, and like, and wondering, like after this relationship is fallen apart, she's sort of, wondering, if, during, if, and like sort of, so like, and sort of wondering, like, if there's, something she needs to get by and stuff like that. Laura's kind of is the kind of lyricist where, with these very poetic lyrics that she writes, like, she keeps a pen behind her ear in case she's got something she really, really needs to say. She's the kind of songwriter where you kind of want to just kind of listen to the song for yourself, pretty much, self, pretty much, in order to sort of, get the real, message of her music, pretty much. And, she, puts that over, really nice, sort of steady instrumental, and I do really like the very interesting sort of textures with the drums, especially in that parts where you get that bass drum, which has that kind of rickety sound to it, and it's like, yeah, I definitely do love that element in there. The song Don't Pass Me By, features kind of almost Western film-inspired guitar riff over the use of a drum machine as well, giving it maybe a bit of a hip-hoppy, I guess, kind of feel to it as well. And also, this is a song sort of, where she's really kind of, this is a song where, she's, pretty much, unafraid to pretty much, kind of, tell the truth pretty much, with lines like, in that chorus, like, will you love me if I put up a fight? I mean, what other songwriter really has the guts to say something like that? Genius, Laura. Laura. And then eventually the song does eventually progress, with bass and drums, and of course, and like, also, this is one song where I feel the string arrangements really are, like some of the best string arrangements on here, because I feel like they're just so unpredictable. Like, they're like, there are points where they kind of, play along with the riff really nicely, and also like, and there are points where, they just get real cinematic and, and create all these different interesting sounds, like, Laura Marling songs actually do sound like the kind of songs that I think would fit nicely maybe in a movie or something, like, something like that. Like, these songs kind of sound like a bit of a soundtrack a little bit. And, the lyrics on, and like, the lyrics sort of, talk, talking about taking her old guitar that they once said was theirs pretty much, and how the person that she's broken up with is still like humming that tune that she sang for her and stuff like that. That like that and sort of talking about how even though this relationship is falling apart, don't try to pass me by and stuff like that, because just I can't get you off my mind. The song "Always This Way" is with the song "Always This Way," it's definitely does have its perfect place on the record as kind of a centerpiece, sort of and sort of as like a centerpiece, and and I do really like the lyrics on here, including I'd like to think that we're a link in what makes the world go round. Lately I wonder if all my pondering is taking up too much ground. Like with that line, she's sort of wondering if maybe some of her, loneliness is maybe taken up too much, and she's kind of, trying to kind of make good out of this situation, pretty much. So it kind of makes sense that the chorus following that is, I make my own way, so at the end of the day, at least I can say that my debts have been paid. And and then over that, nice instrumental with finger-plucked guitars, minimal percussion, as well as I like that part in the chorus where, in the chorus you get an upright bass. It's played with a bow and really does sort of, and it really does, give a nice sort of, bed sort of structure to the song, I will admit. The song Wild Once is one song that I think has some pretty clever, religious undertones going on as well. Sort of, with lyrics like, they put my hands in water, told me I'm a god. I might be someone's daughter. I might be somewhat odd. But I was wild once, and I can't forget it. I was wild, chasing stones. Her lyrics, she's definitely the kind of songwriter who has the ability to really, with those first few lines, right away, just pull you in. And her lyrics definitely also do sound like a poem, so it kind of makes sense that this album actually is named after a poem. Pretty much. And with the song, she really does, show off, how, with her folk style, she does add a nice sort of unique touch to it with her sort of distinctively, English voice, pretty much. And and also the song is really beautiful. Definitely has one of the most well-crafted guitar melodies on the entire record. Laura Marling plays just this unbelievable and very beautiful melody on the acoustic guitar, and it's transitioned really nicely over some piano and a string section as well. And also really adding some really nice poeticism and twists, to the ending of the lyrics of some of her songs. On this one where she says, "There is something just beneath, something shy and hard to see. It's serene. It is clean. It's serene." The next song on here is Next Time, which, actually, this song, Soothing, and The Valley were all paired with really beautifully done music videos as well, So some, Laura Marling's first time, actually directing videos, and she did an incredible job with it, and the very compelling visuals of those videos only took the beauty of those songs to the next level, I think. Like this one, where the lyrics are minimal but definitely very effective, and actually kind of hooky as well, and sort of talking about how she's been through a situation, but she just reminds herself, you're gonna live and learn, and that she'll do better next time. And I do really like the kind of rhythmic guitars over over the percussion, which actually sounds like a drawer closing a little bit, which sounds nice. And also I do really like I think I heard like harp on there as well. That was nice, as well as like a little bit of keyboards I heard at the end. And also I do really like the kind of scuzzy lo-fi sort of string arrangement on the song. I thought was really nice. Like the string definitely has a bit of a lo-fi sort of sound to it, production-wise, but it actually gives it this actually kind of cool sort of odd sound that really does sort of give the song sort of an unusual flavor that I that I do really like. And sound it actually sounds like it was maybe recorded in the 50s or something like that. But probably my favorite song on here, and I feel this is the song that I think really ties this whole record together and really does sort of really kind of sum up what the whole record's about, is the song Nouel. It's an acoustic ballad. It's pretty much a kind of a sparse lo-fi acoustic ballad. But what really makes this song so fantastic is really Laura's vocal abilities, as well as her as well as just as well as just the amazing lyrics on the song are really what make the song just really kind of so memorable, I think. Memorable over a nice acoustic guitar melody, so she has the ability to create some great melodies as well. And she definitely the reason I think this is the song that I think ties this whole record together is because it does use the phrase fickle and changeable quite a bit, which is kind of where the whole Semper Femina name comes from, pretty much. And sort of it's definitely one where it's such an amazing track that it would kind of it would be a little bit of a it would be a little you can't really explain it necessarily. It's like just that good, pretty much. In fact, I'm not really gonna tell you too much of the lyrics. Lyrics on the song, you just have to listen to it for yourself, because it would be kind of tiresome to kind of talk about the lyrics and whatnot, because they're just so good. And it closes out with the song "Nothing, Not Nearly," which is probably the hookiest song on the entire record. Love that roaring slide guitar riff on that song, provided by the producer of this record, who is Blake Mills. Who has, produced for Alabama Shakes and the new Dawes album, Jim James and My Morning Jacket, his new solo record as well. Produced a lot of great records lately. Especially, there is just an insane slide guitar solo, mid toward the song, after the second verse, pretty much. And also, so some of the catchiest and probably some of the, easiest to decipher lyrics on the entire record, occurred as well. And sort of, talking about how even though, the times in this relationship were unforgettable, it still kind of goes by, kind of a, like a half-remembered dream with, like, the line, "I won't forget that late September where we danced among the midnight embers, but it's going like a half-remembered dream." Like, these are the kind of lines that, like, not only sound great in song, but would also sound great kind of recited as a poem as well as, like, as I'm reading some of these lyrics to you in this video. You know, and the chorus of "We've not got long, to bask in the afterglow. Once it's gone, love waits for no one" is a nice little conclusion to the story before it eventually closes out into a really gorgeous, outro with, a really gorgeous acoustic outro with really nice harmonies in the background as well, and before eventually, closing out with what sounds like a door being closed or something like that to give the album kind of its sort of intimate feeling. Like, this is definitely a very intimate record in the sense that it sounds as if she had recorded some of it, like, sounding as if she had recorded some of it, like, in a kitchen or something like that. Like that. And, but yeah, like, I love this record. I do. Oh, and I forgot to mention the song "Nothing Not Nearly" actually has kind of a Neil Young Crazy Horse kind of inspired instrumental to it as well. But yeah, I love this record, I really do. It's easily one of my favorite singer-songwriter records of the year. I mean, just the writing on this album is just exceptional. I mean, you definitely, not saying you have to love the album as much as I do, but you definitely can't deny just, the very top-notch lyrical prowess over here. Yeah, prowess over here, and the very beautifully lavish instrumentals that Blake Mills is providing to the table here on this record. This record as well, it's not a very idiosyncratic folk record, but at the same time, it doesn't need to be, because there's already enough beauty going on to make it, just one of the best folk records of the year. And I can see why a lot of other critics as well seem to be raving about this album as well, and why there were things like, Paste Magazine putting it as number 14 on their favorite records of the year so far. So yeah, I'm definitely going to give Semper Femina a 9 out of 10 for sure. I mean, it's not a perfect record, but at the same time, there's just not one song in here that I don't like, The whole album is just incredibly solid overall. Like, my first, 9 out of 10 review for, a 2017 record so far. Anyway, that's my review for the new Laura Marling album, Semper Femina. I'll see you for episode 159.